What'd you say, sir?
That's what.
Do we have any blue cards? Oh, we do.
Yes, we do.
Manny Leto, he's not here?
Yeah, he left.
He left.
He had to leave, but he is for
Yeah.
denying the appeal and for the site plan and type.
All right, so he did indicate that he was for the development. Okay, so staff, do you have any cross-examination?
Waive.
Appellant's not here. Do you have any cross-examination questions? The applicant waives. Staff, any closing remarks?
Waive.
Applicant, do you have any closing remarks? The applicant waives. And then the appellant is not here, so we'll go into executive session. Mr. Mastery said it perfectly. There is no competent substantial evidence to deny this.
None.
I will entertain a motion unless anyone disagrees.
Go for it.
I mean, okay,
I can't make the motion.
I will make a motion to approve the appeal of a streamlined approval of a site plan to construct 202 dwelling units in the existing 3-story Tomlinson Center and a new 13-story building. A 148-space parking garage will be constructed. The application, the application is requesting a building height bonus, subject to the conditions of approval.
Second.
Kiernan,
No.
Flat,
No.
Rally,
No.
Badalow,
No.
Gonzalez,
No.
Hubbs.
Nope.
Your appeal fails.
We are adjourned.
Color you are or how much money you have. Like if you have some wheels, a board, and some shoes, like you're part of the crew, you know, like you can shred. Everybody's welcome.
The neighborhood has changed over the years. It was beautiful when I was a child, but it's beautiful now that I'm an adult. I'm blessed to have been able to see all of those changes over my 46 years here in the neighborhood.
Wardsville, that was actually named for perhaps a businessman and his wife who was maybe for a while the postmistress in town.
They took care of everybody's mail here, and we needed a name, and we were Wardsville until, you know, the magical day where we became St. Petersburg.
And speaking of that, how did it happen?
That's a great story. If you ride the trolleys, you hear a great story about, you know, a coin flip where, you know, Peter DeMenz and John Williams, who owned most of what is now downtown St. Petersburg, General John Williams, flipped a coin, right? The winner gets the name of the city, loser gets the name of the first hotel. Makes complete sense, right? The city is St. Petersburg, named after St. Petersburg, Russia, where Peter DeMenz is from. The Detroit Hotel is our first hotel, named after Detroit, Michigan, where Williams is from. Great story, but it's not true. We needed a name. and the postmaster wanted a name. Peter DeMens had a press conference saying he was taking his train to St. Petersburg. John Williams didn't want to call it St. Petersburg. So there's all kinds of discussion. So what do you think happened after that?
I think somebody, perhaps one of the partners in that railroad enterprise, said, look, we have to name this after Peter DeMens, and so we're going to name it St. Petersburg. And you go to the post office and tell Ms. Ward that's what it's going to be. And that's probably about how it happened, as simple as that.
It's as close as it came.
Well, there were separate facilities. It was total discrimination, really. It was just a second-classness that I wouldn't want to behold or be on anyone, because it wasn't humane. It wasn't human. We African Americans could not eat at the lunch counters. We could not even sit on those green benches downtown. We were not treated equally as the white citizens in this city. In 1963, I was hired on the St. Petersburg Police Department. And when I went to work at the police station, I determined that the police department wasn't totally integrated.
The locker rooms were most definitely segregated. They were put in the corner. Patrol cars that they did have were the old ones, but maybe not in very good shape.
We African American police officers were always assigned to work in the African American neighborhood only. We could only investigate complaints from citizens of color. We could only arrest citizens of color.
You know, you're trying to enforce the law and trying to get respected or be respected, and you know, you're getting disrespected by the people you're working for.
In 1965, there were 15 African American police officers on the St. Petersburg Police Department. That includes 1 sergeant, 2 detectives, and 12 uniformed officers.
They wanted equal responsibilities. They wanted to be able to police white neighborhoods like Snell Isle, like the Old Northeast. And they wanted to be able to arrest a white person and take them in without having to have an assist from a white officer.
So we 12 uniformed officers started having meetings among ourselves at different one of our homes to discuss the racial attitude that was against us as the police department.
And at one point, finally, I think it might have been Fred Crawford who said, "The heck with it. Let's sue them. If they fire us, they fire us." And that's actually where that nickname came from, you know, the Courageous 12, because every one of those guys put their jobs on the line when they decided to sue the city.
On March 31st and April 1st of 1966, we went to federal court in Tampa, and Judge Joseph Lieb ruled against us and ruled in favor of the police department in the city. That meant that we had lost the lawsuit. The NAACP agreed to file the appeal for us at no cost. On August 1st, 1968, the appeals court ruled in our favor, and we had won that lawsuit. When we won that lawsuit, we had different assignments. I'm the first African American police officer assigned to work in an all-white neighborhood. It was 100% white. We were very proud and honored because we felt that we accomplished what our mission was set out to be. We were honored at City Hall City Council meeting on September 13, 2007. And they gave us the key to the city and a proclamation. And we really thank the city for what they did for us. I never dreamed that I would see a black chief of police here in St. Petersburg. They have one African-American chief now, and they had one previously black chief before. And it's part of what we was put that lawsuit for.
We want to make sure that when people enter our lobby now, we want to recognize the doors that you walk through are the doors that these Courageous 12 open for minorities here in the St. Petersburg Police Department.
Police department in the city put a plaque in the police station with all our names and our pictures on it, and a narrative let people know what we did to be honored.
I have put into place that every sergeant and lieutenant shall read the lawsuit, and they will be tested on it to make sure they are aware of what happened, so we make sure that never happens again.
What we did, help these young men that come on the force now, that came on the force after.
I look around now, I see deputy chiefs, I see chiefs, I see majors. It sort of makes you feel good.
That is the first 4 African-American police officers that were hired on the St. Petersburg Police Department in 1949. That's the Courageous 12. When I see these 12 faces together as unity, we was closer, just like brotherhood, that's what I think of. I'm the last one of the Courageous 12 left. And I think about those 11 other officers that are going on, because we were brothers. We were just like brothers. We were so close. And I am going to carry the banner on for those other officers that are going on. But I tell the younger generation to stand up and for what you got and what you believe in, and stand your ground and don't back down. And think about the Courageous 12 as what we did. We stood our ground and we did not back down.
Hi, I'm Mike Perry from the Stormwater Pavement Traffic Ops Department. I'm the Senior Stormwater Operations Manager, and I'm here to talk about floodwaters. First and foremost, here's what the city does to get ready for wet weather events. Our department sends out street sweepers in low-lying areas to get rid of debris on the streets. We also have special crews that do stormwater inspections to make sure our stormwater systems and their conveyances are clear, including our pipes and our ditches. We do have our sandbag operations mobilized citywide, and where we can, we also pump down lakes to provide storage in the community to get ready for any extreme weather. Should you encounter any floodwaters, do not walk through that area or try and drive through that area for safety reasons. You are the eyes and ears of the community, but please do let us know either through calling the service center or using C-Click Fix on your phone so that we can prioritize that work.
My name is Dominic Colangelo. I am the ground maintenance here for Treasure Island, City of St. Pete, and essentially I make sure this place stays, up and running, clean, help with any little things that may go wrong. When I come to work, the first thing I do is I blow the sand, leaves off the deck, kind of clean it up over there. And then after all that's said and done, go down to the beach, make sure everything's all picked up over there, rake the area, make sure it's nice and clean. It's the start of my day. I really do enjoy my job. I get to hang out at the beach all day, meet some interesting people. It's cool. I've had a couple of people come up and they didn't realize this was owned by the City of St. Pete, so we kind of give them the story about it. Mayor John Brown donated this property to the City of St. Pete. And it was basically for the residents, for the families to come to enjoy the amenities that we had here, like the restrooms, the indoor showers, playgrounds. So he donated that to the community. Today's a beautiful day. I love feeling the wind. I love looking at the water when I drive around. It's kind of peaceful. It's kind of like I'm just by myself, getting the job done, but it doesn't feel like work. I like the freedom. You know, I like being out by the water. It's always a beautiful day, and it's, you know, something a lot of people don't get to do.
How would you write a love letter to your city? The Sunshine City Mosaic is that love letter. The mosaic celebrates so much of why so many find St. Pete an awesome place to call home.
3, 2, 1.
Today was the unveiling and the grand opening of the Sunshine City Mosaic. The Sunshine City Mosaic is comprised of 9 different unique vignettes that celebrate our native Florida wildlife. It tells the story of the sunrise on Tampa Bay to the sunset out on the beaches.
It's the longest mosaic in Florida, 175 feet long, 750 square feet, 15,000 pieces, 3 artists. 931 days from the signing of the contract to today. There's really no words for today, for finishing it. It is now out in the world. We did what we could, and it is not ours any longer. It is everyone else's.
I had the opportunity to visit this mosaic one late afternoon around 5 p.m. in the middle of the summer. It didn't take long to realize what a true labor of love this project has been. What I remember most is my children running along the tiles, crouching down to examine the tiniest of details, tracing the shapes of the animals, with their fingers laughing and smiling as they explored and discovered. To them, nothing else mattered except the art beneath their feet. To me, that's what public art is all about. Capturing attention, sparking curiosity, and nurturing imagination.
Art is for our entire city, and we want it to be in every corner of the city, not just downtown. And that is our approach to inclusive progress for everyone. Everyone ought to be able to enjoy the best of St. Pete right in your neighborhood.
I hope that, it may not be obvious at first, but after spending some time with it, kind of do notice the underlying story of the east side versus the west side, and the different motifs that really point towards the unique ecological situation that we have here in our county.
What makes Florida so special is our ecology, is our water, is all of these wild and beautiful animals we have just right out in the bay. So I hope each and every person walks along this sidewalk, takes a moment to meditate and reflect on that, and that impacts their future decisions. That to me is really the power of public art.
It's very important for people to have diverse cultural experiences so that they can better understand and empathize with people around the world.
Sometimes you can take away things from those other cultures and add it into your own life, and it's very inspirational.
I learned so much about the culture of Japan, what it means to be in another country, what it means to have a host family in another country.
It's truly a very unique and amazing experience. It offers an immersion opportunity that's really once in a lifetime. You can't find it anywhere else.
I definitely learned so much more about their culture. I learned how everyday life is lived. You learn to love the people that you're staying with. You learn to love where you're surrounded.
One of the events was going to the Yashima Temple. It's a temple up on a mountain in Takamatsu, and it's otherworldly. It's absolutely beautiful.
I'd only really seen photos of the temples before, and it's quite a different experience seeing them in person.
I just remember it was so beautiful, and the more temples and things like that you visit, the more you appreciate the culture and appreciate the historical significance of Japan.
This is maybe a once-in-a-lifetime program. Even though Japan is on the other side of the world, I have another host family out there. I have another family out there.
It's really a great opportunity to exercise that interest in culture and learn more about Japanese culture specifically.
Not only is it educational, but it's also inspirational. It really inspired me to get out and travel more. And there's so much more for the world to see, different cultures, different foods, different lifestyles. And it's just so important that people realize and seek the world around them.
District 2 is the northernmost district in St. Petersburg. It's bound by Tampa Bay to the north and east, 28th Street to the west, and as far south as Tennessee Avenue Northeast. I'm Councilmember Brandy Gabbard, your representative for District 2. Today, we are at Power Design Inc., the city's largest private employer and a majority women-led business that has continuously been ranked one of Tampa Bay's best places to work. District 2 is the gateway to St. Petersburg for many coming from Tampa and North Pinellas. Its geography is one of the main reasons we are sought after by some of Tampa Bay's premier corporations, such as Jabil, HSN, FIS, and Raymond James. People may come for the jobs, but they stay for everything else we have to offer. As one of the fastest growing areas of St. Pete, we have a diverse mix of housing opportunities that include neighborhoods nestled along Tampa Bay, offering residents plenty of opportunities to take advantage of the St. Petersburg sunshine. You can spend your day grabbing a kayak or paddleboard from Urban Kai, playing some beach volleyball at Rec Deck, or checking out the wildlife and mangroves at Whedon Island. One of the jewels of our district is Riviera Bay Park, with its extensive walking trails, playground, outdoor gym, and my personal favorite, the St. Pete Bee Hotel, located within the butterfly garden that is filled with native plants and pollinators. After a long day outside, you can relax and unwind at one of our great local restaurants, such as Noble Crust or Paul's Chicago Pizza. And if you want something a little more exciting, come take a swing at the new Top Golf, located in Carillon, offering fun for the entire family. I am proud to represent this diverse area of our city. You can literally do it all here. Work, live, dine, play, go to school, and worship all in your backyard. If you're looking for a new place to call home or to just spend the day, check out District 2.
The American Rescue Plan Act provides relief funds to governments negatively affected by COVID-19. The City of St. Petersburg has received about $45 million in the ARPA funds for investment and have identified key projects that will directly impact St. Pete residents, focusing 75% of funds on affordable housing and support, and 25% of funds on health and social equity efforts. These projects also fall within Mayor Ken Welch's 5 pillars of progress: housing opportunities for all, neighborhood health and safety, equitable development, arts and business opportunities, education and youth opportunities, environment, infrastructure, and resilience. So, what happens next? We plan to spend ARPA funds in the following categories: $34 million for housing affordability and support, and $11 million for health and social equity. Here's a closer look at the plan. To address the affordable housing crisis in the city, 75% of the ARPA funds will be allocated to affordable housing and support. The city received the Housing Champion Award from the Florida Housing Coalition, which recognizes the city for dedicating the highest percentage of COVID-19 state and local fiscal recovery funds from the ARPA to affordable housing. What might that housing assistance look like? Financial assistance toward things like new housing units, shelters for families in need, and additional supportive services. With the rest of the funds, the plan addresses mental health challenges and food insecurity. 25% of the ARPA funds will be used to develop projects that treat root causes of these conditions and situations. Things like food security programs, mental health counseling, youth development and nonprofit funding, and other neighborhood services. For more information about the city's use of ARPA funds, visit stpete.org/ARPA.
District 5 is at the southern end of St. Petersburg. It's bordered by Tampa Bay to the south, Bogosiega Bay to the west, 4th Street South to the east, and as far north as 18th Avenue South. I'm Deborah Figgs Sanders, your council member for District 5, an immensely diverse district that is home to many of our city's treasures. To get in touch with nature, you can visit Maximo Park or Boyd Hill Nature Preserve to enjoy waterfront access, nature trails, all with family-friendly activities. Then there's Lake Vista's popular walking trail, playgrounds, and a dog park that encourages you to participate in a city initiative known as Healthy St. Pete. Also, education and academic excellence is important for our city. And in District 5, you will find 3 of Pinellas County Schools' finest in Bay Point Elementary, Bay Point Middle, and Lakewood High School. Not to mention the mighty Tritons of Eckerd College, a liberal arts waterfront campus which sits on the Gulf Peninsula of Florida's west coast. District 5 is a diverse makeup of cultures, communities, and socioeconomics that can be seen throughout our neighborhoods. Lake McGorry Shores offers a sense of community, or the Pink Streets in the Pinellas Point neighborhood that are a unique feature not seen anywhere else in the city. Our growing economy, friendly residents, and beautiful coastline showcases our best about living in St. Petersburg.
District 3 spans parts of eastern and northeastern St. Pete. Bordered to the east by Tampa Bay, it's a slice of everything that makes St. Pete special. Vibrant neighborhoods, convenient city amenities, and abundant access to nature. Hi, I'm Mike Harding, your City Council member for District 3. Here in District 3, we have 18 parks, including Shore Acres Mini Park where I'm standing today. From intimate neighborhood spaces, like this one, to larger destinations like Fossil Park, there's something for everyone. Want to visit Willis S. Johns Rec Center? Got it. Pickleball courts? Absolutely. Skate park? Check. And yes, there's a pool too. We're also home to the newest rec center in the city, Shore Acres Rec Center. With 6 swimming pool lanes, 2 diving boards, and spaces for community gatherings, it's become a central hub for the neighborhood. Looking for golf lessons or just a place to hit a bucket of balls? Visit Mangrove Bay Golf Course, where you'll find a full pro shop and the Cypress Links Par 3 course right next door. But what I love most about District 3 are the neighborhoods. I grew up right here in Shore Acres, spending my grass cutting money at an arcade and pizza joint where LCC's middle school campus now stands. Shore Acres is a tranquil waterfront community. Like its neighbor Snell Isle, it's just 5 minutes from the buzz of downtown, but feels worlds apart. Drive 5 minutes west and you'll wind through the hilly, tree-lined streets of Allendale. Hard to believe you're still in St. Pete. District 3 is also packed with amenities. We've got a boat ramp, 2 fire stations, a library, a water plant, a brush site, and 25 bridges. Sports organizations like Northeast Little League and the St. Pete Raiders Soccer Club are woven into our community. And yes, you'll find me refereeing youth soccer on the weekends. That's what District 3 is all about. Family-friendly neighborhoods, plenty of outdoor space and top-notch city services. It's where I grew up, and it's where my wife and I raise our daughters today.
Youth Champions is a program that encourages the youth and the officers to build a better relationship.
The Florida Department of Law Enforcement put out a grant called the Community Violence Intervention and Prevention Grant Program. So through them, we were able to create Youth Champions, where kids ages 11 to 17 in the community of Jordan Park gets to engage with law enforcement officers, engage in positive activities such as yoga and therapy.
Meditation, that's like the best one, is meditation, like get your mind at ease. And after that, we just like talk. We talk about like the program, like how is it like affecting them, and pros and cons of what they have in their life. I didn't know at them at first, but like actually like seeing them like do the activities that we be doing and actually interacting with them, it's good.
I think that it's imperative that we build those relationships. We've seen it time and time again where those relationships have benefited us to the positive in the police department. Any opportunity we as police officers get to engage, everybody can relax and be themselves, and then they can get to know us and see the people behind the badge.
Anytime you can consistently show up and commit to a neighborhood or to young children, they see that you're dedicated, and naturally just being able to build relationships is what's going to make a difference in their lives.
It's important to give back. It's important to let the youth know that we care. Our officers are here to ensure that our community is safe. They're here to protect and serve, but serving our community is definitely important.
I hope that they walk away with a sense of seeing an officer as a person, as another human being, that they're just like them.
People can like actually trust cops, have fun with them, and don't be scared.
'So a gentleman by the name of Percy Fansler had an idea of using an airplane, because back then flight was basically just a novelty, right? So a lot of air shows and stuff like that, so that he had an idea of flying from point A to point B on a schedule, just like a train. Unheard of, but who the heck would do that? Nobody was gonna fly on a plane when you had a good old train. They arranged for Thomas Benoit and his airboat company to come to St. Petersburg. Roger and Tony Janis came with them, their chief pilot and mechanic / engineers. January 1st, 1914, they pushed that bad boy, that Benoit airboat, into the water, and 22.5 minutes later, landed in Tampa in the world's first commercial airline flight. Would you have flown in that plane?
I believe I would have. I think I would have.
Hi, I'm Chuck with the City of St. Petersburg Water Resource Department. Today, I want to talk about something small that makes a big difference: your sewer cleanout cap. Your sewer cleanout is an access point in your yard that allows you or a plumber to quickly inspect and service the pipe connecting your home to the city's sewer system. If the cap is missing or damaged, rainwater, floodwater, and debris can get in. And when rainwater enters the sewer system through an open cleanout, it can overwhelm the system, increase treatment costs, and even cause sewer overflows. The good news? It's a simple, inexpensive fix. A PVC cap costs just a few dollars at most hardware stores. Just screw it clockwise until it's snug. That small step helps protect public health, reduces costs, and keep both your neighborhood and the city's wastewater system running smoothly. So, check your clean out today and replace any missing or broken caps right away. For questions, call 727-893-7261 or visit stpete.org/waterresources.
2 million visitors, 26 acres of waterfront. The St. Pete Pier, a district alive with activity. Outdoor spaces. Spa Beach Park. Family Park. The Glazer Playground. The Splash Pad. Coastal Thicket Boardwalk. Fishing Deck. 6 buildings. 7 restaurants. Retail. A museum. A marine education center. 25 boat slips. Public art everywhere you look. More than 100 events each year. Concerts, festivals, pop-ups, fitness classes, and holiday celebrations. And behind it all, thoughtful design. Accessible, sustainable, resilient. Protecting our seagrass, recycling oyster shells, planning for sea level rise. The pier is more than a landmark. It's our waterfront gathering place, where St. Pete comes together.
My name is Chan Srinivasa, and I'm the first African-American city clerk for the city of St. Petersburg, Florida. To me, a trailblazer is someone who sets out on a journey to accomplish something. An individual who sees a path or has a path, and even though obstacles may be in their way, they find ways to get beyond those to reach their goal. To me, that's a trailblazer. I began my career 24 years ago on January 26, 1998. It was a cold, rainy day. I started in the Parks and Recreation Department as a temporary employee on the waterfront, cutting grass and maintaining our parks. Throughout there, I developed as an individual, as a person, but also as an employee of the city of St. Petersburg. And from there, in 2014, I was appointed as the city clerk for the city of St. Petersburg. The city clerk is a very responsible role. Not only are we responsible for the legislative issues of city council, but also our city elections. If you look at the history of how elections are, and being the first African American to hold the role of city clerk in conducting our elections in the city of St. Petersburg, it's a significant role because that within itself is literally setting some type of trail for others to follow as well. It dawned on me the day that I got appointed that I'm the first. And being the first, you always want to be the best at what it is that you do. Failure is never an option for me. If obstacles come, you strategize and you adapt and you go beyond them. Personally, my grandfather, a gentleman by the name of Josh Stanford, the greatest influence in my life. Professionally, there were 2 individuals, Thomas Jet Jackson and Clarence Scott. Jet taught me the importance of community and showing compassion towards people and always making your presence known. Clarence taught me the significance of being not necessarily a perfectionist, but doing your best and also reaching back, helping others, and never forgetting where you came from. St. Pete is progressing, and we're becoming a more diverse and inclusive community. And it says a lot about the character of the people of the city of St. Petersburg, that we look beyond someone's skin color, but we look at the content of their character. To me, that's what it says.
I was really blessed to grow up in a multi-generational family. So my mother and both of my grandmothers were very influential in my life. They were women who were very family-oriented. That commitment extended to the larger community, and that created a very secure and safe environment for me to grow up in.
Most of us growing up in the 80s were latchkey kids. When I started going home after school, Alone was the very first Oprah Winfrey show. And I really looked up to Oprah in the way she was able to talk to people and learn about lives that were things that maybe I didn't see in my own community. Back in small town Louisiana, opened up a whole new world to me.
My childhood was full of family, so my role models were my immediate and extended family members. And while many of them are no longer physically here with us, I still have all of their teachings, the lessons, the love for family, the hard work ethic, laughter and talking that applies to my life now, that I hope my daughters will carry into their lives and hopefully eventually their families.
My mother is definitely the strongest role model in my life. She was the instrumental person in getting us out of Cuba. She taught me the importance of being independent, being resilient, and also as a working mom, she taught me that you could balance a career, family, and God.
I am very hopeful about the future of women leaders in St. Pete. It's very promising.
Already we have women in management positions and in leadership positions.
We have women in some of the places that we've been wanting to be for decades.
There's lots of women in every single role in the city, whether it's police officers, firefighters, and leadership.
The one thing that I love about the female leadership that's in place is that they are making a path for other women to follow.
But we also have a lot of work to do because I think we can diversify that pool of women still.
You have to have people of all walks of life. Everyone brings something different to the table, and it's important to hear all of those perspectives in order to find something that works best for everyone. After all, we're representing a very diverse, very large city now.
Women have such an important role in our culture.
The future of women in St. Pete has never felt brighter.
Mentor a young lady or find a mentor for yourself.
Be sure to honor women in your life.
This month and every month.
We're at Eckerd College in South St. Pete, and we're kicking off the Spark bus service, which is a great premier service that'll connect with our Sunrunner and give folks across St. Pete, but certainly Eckerd College students, a fast connection to North St. Pete and downtown.
3, 2, 1, fire!
The route is really important because it's one of the busiest streets within St. Petersburg, plenty of capacity for a bus service, and it'll move people along really efficiently. One unique thing about the Spark compared to a regular bus service is that the stops are a little bit more spaced out. You don't spend as much time starting and stopping. And with the service coming every 15 minutes, you also don't really need to even look at the schedule. You just go to the stop.
It's a perfect case for transit-oriented development. You know, you want your jobs, your transportation, and your housing to all connect. And you're seeing that happen on 34th Street South in the Skyway Marina District.
There are a lot of new residential units coming on in the district and a lot of new retail opportunities coming along in the district. So it's really a symbiotic relationship where this bus service will help that development and it'll spark more development, pun intended.
This is the next step, and as folks continue to see the benefits of having modern, dependable, premium transportation, other areas are going to ask for it. Today we cut the ribbon for Bayou Courts, a mixed income apartment complex here in South St. Pete. The great part of this story is that this originally was going to be all market rate, but in partnership with Gravel Road and with the county, we were able to have 60 units here with a good mix of units that are affordable to folks making less than average incomes.
One of the cool parts about this project is it was specifically geared towards
teachers, city workers, county workers, the people that run our area, the people that are educating our children, this is the place for them. And they made it a place that's welcoming, that's beautiful.
It tends to be the case that a lot of the folks that work in those jobs qualify for these projects, and most times they don't know that they actually qualify. But what we're talking about is a subset of affordable that truly serves that missing middle.
Already 21 of the units have already been rented out. So this is a great example of how we work together, how we can have affordable housing.
What you're seeing is the hard work really coming to fruition now, but also you're still seeing shovels go in the ground. I think that's the most important thing. We started to get the momentum. What you're seeing now is the ball actually rolling. We got to keep pushing, make sure that that momentum continues.
We'll persevere and make sure that we have that affordable housing that makes us the inclusive community we are.
When we talk about the Indian mounds, and Rui, you may think of it this way too, I think of that big sign out on Park Street that says, Panfilo de Narvaez landed here.
Everyone assumes that they landed somewhere on the Pinellas Peninsula when you can't really say exactly where. There were probably Indian mounds that covered the city from the Coffee Pot area all the way around the peninsula, up the west side of the city to to where Seminole is today, because there's still traces and evidence of them.
So there are a couple that remain here and there, but what happened to the rest of them? How come we don't see them in more spots around town?
When the automobile arrived in Florida and into St. Petersburg, imagine having an automobile with a tire that's that wide trying to drive up down Central Avenue and around downtown, getting stuck a lot in the sand. So a lot of those Indian mounds were used by city leaders. They used it to actually pave the streets of downtown St. Pete.
That's what became of history in that regard, huh?
Exactly.
Wow.
So every time you Central Avenue and 3rd Street, when you cross Central Avenue, you say hello to some of the Indians that may still be there. Who knows?
Who knows?
When you look at the top concern for residents in an urban city or even our rural communities, a growing number of Americans list affordable housing at the top of the list. Here in St. Pete, it's no different. I'm standing here at the Shores in South St. Pete with 51 new affordable units made possible by a county-wide collaboration. Understanding the relationship between our quality of life and housing is critical. That's why I'm launching the Housing Opportunities for All plan, an intentional expansion to our existing housing plan that addresses the current state of our city. The plan aims to produce new affordable housing units, preserve existing affordable housing, and protect tenants. Housing Opportunities for All is more than a priority in our administration. It's a foundational part of our mission, a pillar for progress. This year, we've designated more than $40 million to build new affordable housing units and plan to help thousands of residents preserve their current homes over the next several years. We've also implemented powerful protections for renters with our Tenants' Bill of Rights. There is nothing more important to me and our City Council than improving the quality of life for the people of St. Petersburg. And these are just a few examples of the impactful work that's underway right now. I will continue to keep you updated on progress made as we help more families settle into their new homes and stay in their current homes. So working together and listening to each other with our eyes on inclusive progress, we will continue to move the needle on affordable housing. To learn more about the Housing Opportunities for All plan, visit www.stpete.org/affordable housing. We are St. Pete.
I want it to be fun. I want people to ask questions like, why are the cows flying? Why does the girl have two faces? All of my artwork, I want to hint at a story that you can fill the blanks in with. My artwork tells my story of navigating femininity, faith, and Latinidad through my painting. Just having something that is gonna live on and that people will stumble upon, like, wow, this really is super cool. I'm Christy. I've always been an artist. It's never really been a choice that I've made.
I look at Woodlawn as probably the most neighbor-friendly, kid-friendly neighborhood that I've ever lived in. It's a wonderful neighborhood to grow up in. I wish I was a kid growing up in this neighborhood.
It's a real family-oriented community, super close to downtown, and it's just kind of one of those picturesque, nice, quaint little neighborhoods.
I think what was really cool about the neighborhood is it's different compared to a lot of the other neighborhoods where part of it is on the circle. So as soon as we drove in on the neighborhood looking for a house, I just knew that this neighborhood had kind of some extra character to it.
Woodlawn has got a circular style to it, design to it, and you can see from some of these old pictures that there really is a circle or an oval to Woodlawn neighborhood.
My favorite part of the day is driving home. You turn onto our street from MLK, and there's beautiful oak trees, blooming crepe myrtles, and then there's a park. We have a park just at the end of our street. So here in Woodlawn, we have 3 public parks within our community.
We use those parks a lot for our garage sale in the fall. There's cookouts that go on in those neighborhood parks, and they become very handy.
And that's where we have all of the holiday events, all of our neighborhood events, potlucks, things like that. But then on the weekends, you could just kind of go out there and hang out. So I worked out in the park, take my dog to the park. There's a basketball hoop for the neighborhood kids to hang out. Got it!
As the fall and into the winter and into the holiday season, every one of those little pocket parks gets used for certain events.
Christmas caroling going on during Christmas, there's an Easter egg hunt through the neighborhood. Halloween is huge in this neighborhood.
And then Halloween, you forget about it. It is crazy around here.
Woodlawn likes to party.
So, like everything, trees come and go, and a lot of the trees in this neighborhood are laurel oaks, and they've got a time period of about 70 years in their lifespan. And we realized early on that the trees in this neighborhood were going to go away. What we did several years ago as part of a grant is got additional oak trees planted in several of those quadrant parks, just to give a little shade so it's not as hot during the summer. And I would guarantee that 50 years from now, 100 years from now, the folks that are living here in these houses will be looking at those trees, wondering who planted them, and gosh darn it, they got to be getting old. Maybe we need to think about putting some new ones in.
There's so many generations of families here, old houses, new houses, young families, families that have been here for 20 years. But amidst all that, it's just a really cool community feel.
When we saw this house, as scary as it was, we knew it was the house just based on coming into the neighborhood and feeling so welcomed.
And the other interesting thing is about the folks that live in Woodlawn, the majority of them are very passionate about living here.
It's just a very outgoing and nice community.
So the one thing that I would like to lift up and make sure that everybody hears is that there's 2 Child's Parks. There's the Child's Park that you hear about and that you read about, but then there's my Child's Park. The parameters of Child's Park include 34th Street South to 49th Street, and then 18th Avenue to 5th Avenue South. And that's the Child's Park neighborhood, but the greater Child's Park area actually covers about 3 neighborhoods. It goes to about 1st Avenue to around 30th Avenue South.
I believe through the YMCA, the library, and the Rattlers,
organization has become very instrumental in helping our youth and children become very productive adults.
The Rattler program into a GAP program that's designed to engage the community, to build family and community and crime prevention by keeping the kids engaged in youth activities.
I think the emphasis for developing youth in Childs Park arises from some statistics that we received, is that Childs Park had the highest concentration of youth in the city of St. Petersburg.
What we promote is family and community. So what we're trying to instill in them with the program is that we are one big family.
Because a lot of the initiatives and things are always focused, they're heavy focused on programming, or some type of, regimen or awareness piece or a pledge or something else. And we felt that it was important to just allow them to have a space to just come and have fun.
We're solely manned by volunteers, and we let them know that too. So we want them to come back and be volunteers, so the torch is just passed on, so we all learning from one another.
They're not just focused on the athletic aspect of it, but they also focus on youth development. So they have a tutoring program that they do.
And with the YMCA, you have the Rattlers and you have the other programs that's offered. When kids get out of school, they have a place to go. They have the library there.
The STREAM Club stands for Science, Technology, Reading, Engineering, Arts, and Math. We meet every Friday afternoon at the Childs Park Library. It's kind of an extra opportunity for them to get some exposure to topics they might not know about or might have heard in school and didn't quite stick. We just give them opportunities to have different kinds of experiences and hands-on experiences at that.
The youth have a place to go and children have a place to come daily. Matter of fact, that's a great thing to help kids get off the street, have a place to go, a safe haven you might call it.
One of my brothers, when we first organized this, he said, we're helping to create their back in the day. And I think that's important because, all of us have our back in the day, and I remember back in the day when we used to do that. So our responsibility as the adults now is to help create the back in the day experience for them. And what's happening today is Friday Night Done Right, an event that we created to create a safe space for children to come on Friday nights so they can be free to be kids. Sometimes you just want to remember when you went to the pool and they let you in for free, and that was it. And that's why I think it's important to help create those type of memories as well.
The Childs Park neighborhood, if anyone would ask about it, I would state that it was often misunderstood.
So I'll encourage people to come and see for themselves. There's more to Childs Park that I've seen more positive in Childs Park than I have seen negative.
And my Childs Park encompasses everything that we described today, and I hope that you will gravitate towards that and balance that once you hear the other stories and the other narratives that come out about the neighborhood.
Hello, my name is Bob Turner. I'm the Assistant Director of Sanitation for the City of St. Petersburg, and I'm here to talk to you about a very important issue called hot loads. Historically, hot loads for us were centered around hot coals that folks had put into the garbage cans. Now the new culprit is rechargeable lithium batteries. These batteries actually combust when crushed. So as soon as they go into our garbage trucks and we compress the load, either the batteries themselves or the devices that contain these batteries are crushed, they ignite, and they set the load on fire. The important thing for our residents to know is that these types of batteries and the devices that these batteries are in can't be thrown away in the regular garbage. They need to be taken someplace where they can be recycled, where they don't cause a hazard to our trucks or our drivers. The best way to find out information about where you can take a particular device or a battery is to go to the Pinellas County Solid Waste webpage and use their Where Does It Go tool. It's a great resource. You can type in the item that contains the rechargeable battery or the battery itself, and they'll tell you what to do with it. It's important for our residents to please keep these items out of the trash so that we don't have trucks catch on fire and we don't risk our employees.
I'm the youngest of 7 girls, and so I had lots of female role models. One in particular is most definitely my mother.
My mother has always been my strongest influence. I distinctly remember growing up in South America, there were not very many opportunities for women in leadership, and my mom really made her own place.
One of my grandmothers had ovarian cancer, and my other grandmother had 4 cancers. In the late 60s, went in for a lumpectomy. They did a double radical mastectomy. She woke up being taken down to her breastplate. For her, that was incredibly humbling because her whole identity was being in the community, and she felt embarrassed, and to some extent that her womanhood was gone. And so watching her overcome that and thrive was really, that was inspiring as well.
Growing up, I really admired one of my high school teachers in particular. She was this incredibly brilliant woman who was tough, who was smart, and who also would give everything to help her students.
I think it's critical to have a mentor. I found mentors that taught me self-acceptance, self-love. They help you find a way. They help you find an opportunity to a path to your full expression.
Well, I think mentorship is extremely important to the pathway to success.
Having someone there who is really going to be the shining example, who is going to be your guide through life, is really what's so important and what so many of us need.
Every life, you should have somebody that is your champion and somebody you can champion. And I think that's really important as we think about elevating others.
Oh, St. Petersburg Leadership for Women is outstanding. I think we are positioned perfectly.
I feel so very fortunate to live and work in a city like St. Pete that's inclusive, that's progressive.
I believe that we are our future, that will be kind and generous.
There's great support amongst the women leaders to collaborate, to make a difference, to solve complicated problems, and they're brilliant, brilliant women.
This community has not just great women leaders, but a platform where they're elevated and able to do things that are meaningful and that really impact our community. And that's part of the reason it's such a phenomenal community.
Women have such an important role in our culture.
The future of women in St. Pete has never felt brighter.
Mentor a young lady or find a mentor for yourself.
Be sure to honor the women in your life this month and every month.
District 8 is located from the interstate to Tyrone Boulevard and runs north to south from Central Avenue to 40th Avenue North. I'm Richie Floyd, your council member for District 8. I'm standing along the shores of Jorgensen Lake Park, located directly behind our main public library, a place where students and residents throughout our city have visited and utilized over the decades and still frequent to this day. The newly renovated President Barack Obama Main Library will be an impressive, well-known asset to all in our community. Another major landmark in District 8 is St. Pete High. This highly rated school, built back in 1926, has served as a campus for generations of Green Devils in the Sunshine City. You haven't experienced all of St. Pete if you haven't stopped by Mazzaro's Italian Market. This true Italian market serves as a destination for lunch, fresh roasted coffee and beverages, and homemade pasta. District 8 is also home to one of our best business districts, Grand Central, with plenty of places to eat and shop. Grand Central was also the birthplace of St. Pete Pride and the Pride Parade, and still plays a role in our city's annual Pride events. If you're looking to escape the grind of the city, this district also features several city parks, including Gladden Park and Booker Creek Park, which includes new pickleball courts. District 8 has the right mix of people, neighborhoods, parks, shopping, and culture. In a lot of ways, it's the best representation of what St. Pete is all about.
On the road, there are no second chances. When you're behind the wheel, nothing is more important than staying focused on the road. Your life and the lives of others are at risk. Put the phone away. It can wait. Don't drive distracted.
I think a trailblazer is a person who looks at the needs of now without high regard for the status quo or the way we've always done things, but focuses their work on how you make our community better today and for generations to come. None of us stand on our own, and so in order for me to be elected mayor, there were so many folks in generations before me that had to fight even for the right to vote, or even for the right to be a full-fledged police officer like Leon Jackson. I just looked at myself as the next in a line of folks who are working to move our community forward. Without the Leon Jacksons of the world, I certainly wouldn't be in this position. And without guys like Bob Stewart, former city council member and county commissioner, who's one of my mentors, who served with both me and my father, you know, without those folks also pushing, we wouldn't be where we are today. You know, I attended the last segregated class at Melrose as a kindergarten student, that I'm able to go back to that and talk to those students as the 54th mayor of our city. That's a lot for one lifetime. As I go around the classroom, I do this for Great American Teach-In, and ask the kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the last time I went, there were 3 kids that said, you know, I want to be mayor, and one young lady who said she wanted to be president. that's what it's all about. It's just making sure kids understand you really can achieve. Progress doesn't happen without someone who challenges the status quo, the powers that be, and speaks up for folks who are largely silenced. There is such a thing as a silent majority, folks who are too busy putting food on the table, taking care of their kids or their parents, to be involved in the political arena. And so the folks that do that represent a lot of folks who can't be engaged. Find someone, reach out to someone that you admire who's made it, and reach out to them. Email, Facebook. I guarantee a lot of folks will actually respond to that. I certainly will if someone's interested in elective office. Reach out, make that first step. Never be bound by the status quo or someone else's opinion of what you can or cannot do. Hey guys, Ken Welch here again on our Sunrunner tour. Today I'm with Catherine Woods, who was the artist that did so much of the work that you'll see at the stops. Thank you for joining us, Catherine.
Oh, my pleasure.
Tell us a little bit about what the art means.
Absolutely. Since St. Pete is such a mural city, if you took all the glasses out of all the shelters and put them together, it kind of looks like a mural, a continuous mural. If you take the glasses and where they are at all the 16 stops, they all relate to the neighborhood. It's like the welcoming front porch to the community and the neighborhood that it's in.
What's the message you want to convey to folks who might be from out of town that see that?
I just want them to feel the joy of St. Petersburg. The colors are joyful, the way the sun comes through it's a very happy thing, and I just want them to feel that.
And what drew you to this project in the first place? How'd you become
Oh my gosh,
involved?
how could you say no to that big canvas? There's 2 glasses per station, and each one is 5 foot by 7 foot, 16 stations, so that's a lot of glass, and that's a lot of chance to get a message across and do a lot of beautiful color.
Well, thank you. It's beautiful art.
My pleasure.
And it tells the story of St. Petersburg.
It does.
Thank you, Catherine.
My pleasure.
Hey guys, St. Pete Mayor Ken Welch here, continuing our Sunrunner bus tour. I'm here with fellow Bull USF St. Pete student Joey Vars. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us what Sunrunner means for a student at USF.
You know, Sunrunner is really a game changer. If you live on the western side of St. Petersburg or by the beaches and you're a student, it really opens up the city to being able to get to town a lot quicker. You can go to class without having to drive. I take my bike from Paso Grill to the station, and then I'm downtown in less than an hour, and I don't have to worry about driving.
And you were telling us on the bus how you actually get your bike mounted on the bus. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so the way that the Sunrunner has it, they have these little bike assists, and you wheel your bike right in kind of on the little machine, and then it verticalizes it, so it takes up less space. You can kind of stand more compact, and you actually get more people on the bus that way too.
Cool. Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us today, Joey.
Thanks for having us.
We'll talk to you more on our Sunrunner bus tour.
My name is Michael Cottman, and this is Twin Brooks Golf Course. I oversee all of the facilities here that maintain the golf course and try to get it in pristine condition. It's a 9-hole golf course. We have a practice facility in the back, which is 3 practice holes. It's a really unique facility because it's in the middle of the city. It's really a benefit to the city because what we do here is we provide a place for play that's more reasonable than any of the other golf courses in the area. We have guys that come out here that are 80 years old. For them, this is an exercise. It's a chance to get out of the house and to do something. And for the kids, it's an opportunity to get off of the streets and to learn the game. my day begins around 5 o'clock. Make the assignments for everybody, make sure everybody's got the tools and protections that they need. So we set up the golf course, get that done, and then we'll do all of our other stuff. We'll mow fairways, we'll mow rough, we'll trim trees, we'll do hedges, and any other thing that pops up. So it becomes pretty daunting at times, but we manage to get it done, one bite at a time. So every day is a different adventure. When I got on this particular property, we didn't have fairways, we didn't have moguls, we didn't have mounds. Now we have a primary place to play where it looks like an 18-hole manicured golf course, even though it's 9 holes. There's a satisfaction that you get when the transformation process, to see it go from what it was to your vision, is so fulfilling.
District 4 is centrally located in St. Petersburg, from Coffee Pot and North Shore to the east and I-275 to the west. It reaches as far north as 77th Avenue North and as far south as 5th Avenue North. I'm Councilmember Lisette Hanowitz, your representative for District 4. I love where I'm standing right now, where baseball legends played. Huggins Stengel Field hosted the New York Yankees spring training sessions with players like Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, and Joe DiMaggio, all the way back in 1925. This baseball field is located in what I consider one of the city's best parks, Crescent Lake Park, a 56-acre city park featuring the natural Crescent Lake, home to an incredible amount of wildlife. And of course, one of the city's most recognizable landmarks resides in Crescent Lake neighborhood, the Water Tower. Standing above the treetops at 110 feet tall, the tower features local artist Tom Stovall's mural and plays host to a pandemonium of green monk parrots. One of the best parts of District 4 are the many unique neighborhoods with their diverse architecture and residents that call this district home. Historical Northeast, Greater Woodlawn, Euclid St. Paul, and Crescent Lake and Crescent Heights are just a few of the great neighborhoods that represent the area. Our numerous parks allow our neighborhoods to enjoy casual waterfront strolls, swimming laps in the pool, play a few games, and a moment to reflect while taking in the nature that surrounds our city. Speaking of nature that surrounds you, tucked away in District 4 is a true tropical oasis, right along 4th Street North. Sunken Gardens is considered St. Pete's oldest living museum and has been around for more than 100 years. Meandering paths guide visitors through a living collection of more than 50,000 tropical plants and flowers. And don't forget about the flock of flamingos. There's really no shortage of energy, nature, neighborhoods, and great local businesses to enjoy while you spend a little time in District 4.
PCCA, Gibbs High, was high school that was invented because initially black people didn't go much beyond the 6th or 7th grade. And they created it. And then they put this performing arts magnet there. And I remember the first time I went there, just the art in the hallways that was from students, very sophisticated. And I thought, who wouldn't want a job there teaching motivated, talented young people? And obviously you were called because you taught. How long did you teach at Gibbs?
I believe I taught for 9 years, 8 or 9 years. Yeah, a long time. I think teaching at PCCA for those years made me a better artist. Mm-hmm. Working with young artists and inspiring young artists. But beyond the inspiration, teaching them how to coexist as artists in the community. They did not seek artists who were teachers. First, you didn't have to have a teaching degree to work in the magnet.
I didn't know that.
No, they wanted you to be an artist first. So you came with your artist degree or your art, and then from there, once you were inside, because I didn't have a teaching degree, once you were inside, once you got hired, then they put you through, Pinellas County School District has a phenomenal program so that you could get your teaching license. They wanted all of their educators to be working in the community so that their students had the opportunity to network and with the community members so that it strengthens the school and it also strengthens the community. And I think that was very important. I think it's a pivotal part of the program. I think it's a thing that makes it successful. And then not just the community as in St. Pete or the Southeast region, but our national community too. Because so many of our artists, visual and performing artists, have gone on to do great things. Broadway, LA, and beyond, tours, all those things, yeah.
My name is Shakayla Berthelo, and I am the first to graduate from the Gibbs High School EMT program and get hired on with St. Pete Fire and Rescue. A trailblazer is someone who is a discoverer, a creator, who takes risks. They aren't afraid to put themselves out there, and they're constantly trying to better themselves, not only for personal growth, though, for those around them. They're leading and they're bringing people with them. It's called the EMT program, EMT Preparatory Program at Gibbs High School. It's essentially 3 years long, and you'll go through what's the traditional EMT program that people would do outside of doing it through high school. But the classes that you take your sophomore, junior, and senior year are preparatory classes, kind of set you up for what you're gonna encounter when you start EMT school. It was definitely challenging for sure, and a lot of hardships to get over, but I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world because it set me up for this. Like, it gave me a ridiculous amount of opportunities, and I am so, so grateful for that. Growing up, I think I had two pretty important trailblazers. One would probably be Shirley Chisholm, who was the first Black female to join the U.S. Congress. It was monumental, especially at that time, because you didn't see a lot of strong Black females in positions like those. And also, Madam C.J. Walker, she's the first Black millionaire in America. She started her own hair care line for Black natural hair. And I think that is also incredible. Those are probably the two biggest trailblazers I had growing up. Just kind of let me know that if they can do it, I can do it, no matter what it is. I am a representation of you can do it. You set your mind to it and you can do it. Absolutely, do not hesitate, do it, because you can. So I say for people who are kind of struggling with that, or like struggling with the confidence of not being able to do something, I say just do it. Just do it, because you're only hurting yourself by not doing it. So just put yourself out there. You never know what's gonna happen.
It feels like my whole career, I've just found a job, but never the job. Finding the perfect job that suits my life has always been challenging. I've always sort of just felt like a number at the places where I worked, so I think that I'm ready to find a job that will give me the benefits that I deserve. They always say that you're only as strong as your own network. So I'm expanding that. Beginning today, I'm asking anyone and everyone I meet if they know where I should work. Hey, don't you wish that you had a job that would contribute to your retirement fund without having to contribute your own money?
You should work where I work then.
It probably makes sense that I can't find the perfect job situation. I mean, who would ever leave if you had it so good? Hey, wouldn't you freak out if you could find a job that would provide you with a doctor that you could see anytime, without a copay even?
Yeah, and how about most common prescriptions too?
Yeah. Wait, is that a thing?
Yeah, you should work where I work.
Everyone always says, find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life. But I feel like a job like that doesn't actually exist. It's just a thing that people say. Hey. You know what I want? I want a job that carries over my sick and vacation leave, instead of it just going away if I don't use it.
Well, you should work where I work.
Maybe my expectations are too high. Maybe a job is just a job. I mean, who really works somewhere that has the perfect package? Hey, little guy. You have it made, don't you? I should take a page out of your book. Get a job without a desk.
I don't have a desk.
Wish I could find that job.
Well, you should work where I work.
I'm starting to think that there is a place that has the benefits that matter to me. A place where I can find a solid work-life balance, but there's no way there's any job possibilities, right?
You really should work where we work.
Wait, you guys too?
Yeah, man, there's plenty of job opportunities at the city of St. Pete.
Where would I even begin?
Easy. Just go to stpete.org/jobs and then go from there.
Oh, I have to go.
Okay, wait. He's got our mic.
I need to work where they work.
Cut.
Did it!
The waterfront view is my favorite part about living right here in St. Pete.
Sounds of the water, the sounds of different species of birds. I find it very soothing and relaxing.
Everybody ride good? How you feel?
Yeah,
I feel good.
It's like a perfect day for it.
See the pelican? Yeah, he's fishing for some fish too. Say yay, fishing!
I look at Woodlawn as probably the most neighbor-friendly, kid-friendly neighborhood that I've ever lived in. It's a wonderful neighborhood to grow up in. I wish I was a kid growing up in this neighborhood.
It's a real family-oriented community, super close to downtown, and it's just kind of one of those picturesque, nice, quaint little neighborhoods.
I think what was really cool about the neighborhood is it's different compared to a lot of the other neighborhoods where part of it is on the circles. So as soon as we drove in on the neighborhood looking for a house, I just knew that this neighborhood had kind of some extra character to it.
Woodlawn has got a circular style to it, design to it, and you can see from some of these old pictures that there really is a circle or an oval to Woodlawn neighborhood.
My favorite part of the day is driving home. You turn onto our street from MLK and there's beautiful oak trees, blooming crepe myrtles, and then there's a park. We have a park just at the end of our street. So here in Woodlawn, we have 3 public parks within our community.
We use those parks a lot for our garage sale in the fall. There's cookouts that go on in those neighborhood parks, and they become very handy.
And that's where we have all of the holiday events, all of our neighborhood events, potlucks, things like that. But then on the weekends, you can just kind of go out there and hang out. So I worked out in the park, take my dog to the park. There's a basketball hoop for the neighborhood kids to hang out.
As the fall and into the winter and into the holiday season, every one of those little pocket parks gets used for certain events.
Christmas caroling going on during Christmas. There's an Easter egg hunt through the neighborhood. Halloween is huge in this neighborhood.
And then Halloween, you forget about it. It is crazy around here.
Woodlawn likes to party.
So, like everything, trees come and go, and a lot of the trees in this neighborhood are laurel oaks, and they've got a time period of about 70 years in their lifespan. And we realized early on that the trees in this neighborhood were going to go away. What we did several years ago as part of a grant is got additional oak trees planted in several of those quadrant parks just to give a little shade so it's not as hot during the summer. And I would guarantee that 50 years from now, 100 years from now, the folks that are living here in these houses will be looking at those trees, wondering who planted them, and gosh darn it, they got to be getting old. Maybe we need to think about putting some new ones in.
There's so many generations of families here, old houses, new houses, young families, families that have been here for 20 years. But amidst all that, it's just a really cool community feel.
When we saw this house, as scary as it was, we knew it was the house just based on coming into the neighborhood and feeling so welcomed.
And the other interesting thing is about the folks that live in Woodlawn, the majority of them are very passionate about living here.
It's just a very outgoing and nice community.
My name is Jeremiah Daniels, and I am the first African-American male salutatorian for the Boca Ciega High School on their steps. Growing up, I would say the trailblazers in my life, I would say Jackie Robinson. When I was growing up, I played baseball, so that was a big part of my life, and knowing the role that Jackie Robinson played, that was obviously a big trailblazer to me. Throughout my 12 years of school, I've had pretty impactful mentors. My Algebra 1 honor teacher, her name was Ms. McAlpine. She gave me advice that would be greatly used during my high school career, even when I was back in middle school. And even now, I still keep in touch with her. I would definitely say there probably are some who see me and are inspired. I hope that by me doing just what I do, that I do inspire others. So that way not only they accomplish what I did, but do greater things above what I did. It's a phenomenal opportunity to be able to give the last few words to our graduating class and those in the stands.
Please welcome the first African-American male salutatorian in Boca Ciega history, Jeremiah Daniels.
It was a great experience. A little nerve-wracking being on the stage and seeing everybody, but once I did start talking, it all came out pretty smooth, and I'm just glad for the opportunity.
No matter where we go from this point, we must be tenacious.
Obstacles are in your life for you to overcome it. It's down to you to overcome it. There's support everywhere, you just gotta know where to look, and they can help you overcome the obstacles so you can do it. It's when you say you can't that you won't.
Like Moneybagg Yo said, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. However it comes, just know that I'm ready. Thank you. Have a great holiday.
Hey St. Pete, and welcome to the definitive guide for how to be the best resident you can be. A little tip from our Good Neighbor Guide. On this special edition, we will also help you be the most prepared resident you can be. to our special edition Good Neighbor Guide, coming to you from the City of St. Pete's production studio to talk about something super serious, hurricane season. Here's one thing we can't control, where and when a tropical system will make landfall. But here's what we can control, being prepared. So let's talk about what you should be ready for, before, during, and after a tropical system. Let's start at the beginning. What to do before the storm. Can we roll that before the storm animation? I love that. Right now, even before a storm is approaching, you should sign up for Alert St. Pete. If you haven't heard about it, it's pretty amazing. Also, it's free. You can receive notifications including mandatory evacuations, hurricane information, flooding, and other local emergencies. When it comes to a storm, you've got to have a plan. Prepare your home to weather the storm, know your evacuation zone, and make sure you have an evacuation plan. Stay with family or friends in a non-evacuation zone, in a hotel in a non-evacuation zone, or in one of Pinellas County's public shelters. A disaster supply kit is highly recommended. To learn more about what to include in your supply kit, let's toss it out to our field reporter, Ava.
Thanks, Bianca. When you're in a hurricane's path, a disaster supply kit can make a huge difference. So let's talk a little bit about what items you should consider including in your supply kit.
Wait, Ava, what's happening there? Where are you?
What do you mean?
Well, it's clearly sunny where you are, but it also looks windy and rainy. How is that possible?
Guys, take five. Sorry about that, Bianca. Let's get back to the disaster supply kit. In the event you have to evacuate, a prepared supply kit can make a huge difference. Experts say basic. Emergency supply kit can include the following items. You should have enough water and food packed to last you at least 7 days. Additional suggested items include a battery-powered or hand-cranked radio, flashlight, first aid kit, extra batteries, and chargers for all your electronics. Cash if possible, and any important documents you may need, and some items to help pass the time. Prescription medications, glasses, infant formula, and diapers, any pet food, and extra water are also good things to consider. Being prepared will keep you one step ahead of the game. Back to you, Bianca.
Good tips to be ready before the storm arrives. Thanks, Ava. Now let's talk about what to do during the storm. You'll hear a lot of talk about tropical storm and hurricane watches and warnings. Being familiar with the difference is important. A watch means the potential exists for severe weather and you should stay informed. Remain ready to move quickly as conditions can change rapidly. But a warning means that severe and disruptive weather is imminent and you should take action immediately. Safety is critical during a storm. Do not walk, swim, or drive through flood waters. If you did not evacuate in time, stay away from windows and take shelter in a small interior room until the storm passes. After the storm, if you did evacuate, do not return home until officials give the all clear. Damage, road closures, and power outages are all possibilities after a storm. So check news reports over the radio or on social media to stay informed. If you encounter an intersection with an inoperable traffic signal, treat it as a four-way stop. Stay clear of any down-powered lines. Report outages to the Mayor's Action Center or your energy provider. And remember, the city has some low-lying areas, so if you see standing water, do not attempt to drive through it. Check the info at the bottom of the screen for ways to contact the Mayor's Action Center. This guide is not all-inclusive. For more thorough information, like checklist, a flood zone map, and other resources, visit stpeteprepares.com. And our county's partners website, pinellascounty.org/emergency. A tropical storm or hurricane is a serious matter. If you're prepared, this stuff is so easy, a kid could do it. We all love our city, including our homes, businesses, pets, and neighbors. When a storm approaches, look out for each other. Rescue efforts are most successful when we all keep an eye out for each other. We can all do our part and take care of St. Pete the best we can and follow St. Pete's Good Neighbor Guide.
Hi, I'm Jane and I work at Sunken Gardens, and my job is to take care of the parrots, 2 kookaburras, and a flock of flamingos, interact with them and just really enjoy the little slice of paradise at Sunken Gardens. What we're doing is, before we open at 10, getting everything done so that when the public arrives, all the birds are out and fed and happy. They're all unique. They all say different things, and it's just a lot of fun to interact with them. I love this job because it's unique. I don't think I'd ever find another one like it. It's just a really fun experience for me. Flamingos are very sociable and like people, love the people that handle them, and they're very sweet. So the fact that we have 2 that have been here over 62 years, it's kind of amazing. We also take care of the tortoises. We have South American red-footed tortoises and a huge old alligator snapping turtle. Sunken Gardens is an incredibly beautiful place. If the city hadn't bought it, who knows what this would be like now. To me, it is just an incredible, beautiful place. And when you're in here, you don't even realize that you're in the middle of a busy city. At the end of the day, when I leave, after they're all back inside in their cages, they all tell us bye. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye. The worst part of my day, I guess, is pulling out onto 4th Street. It's just really fun to work here and incredible, good, fun job.
We're here at the Shell Dash Townhomes ribbon cutting, where 10 homeowners were given the keys to their homes, and it's the first project like this for Habitat in St. Petersburg. And 10 lives now are going to move forward into home ownership. It's a great day.
Our families go through a lot to get to a day like today. After being accepted into our program, these families take 38 homebuyer education classes, teaching them everything they need to know to be a successful homeowner. We cover topics from budgeting to home maintenance and even how to be a good neighbor. They also put in between 350 and 450 sweat equity hours on our construction sites, including their own home.
It represents all the hard work and dedication that I've endured over this past year. I am greatly proud of myself going through this journey. At times I thought I could not, but I am here.
Through a partnership, the city put in more than $1 million from the South St. Pete CRA, donated the land, and Habitat is providing an interest-free mortgage. So it's an intentional effort to have affordable housing right here, just south of Tropicana Field, for folks who make our city work, and that's why it's important.
The average median price of a townhome in the city of St. Petersburg is over $650,000 right now. So to have a home made affordable to these families at $279,000 with a 0-interest mortgage, it'll keep these homes forever affordable for these families as they move in.
We have 50 more just south of here on the 18th Avenue corridor that we're working with Habitat on, and those will come to fruition. So folks need to understand that the process takes time, but we're dedicated to making sure it moves forward.
into printmaking actually as a writer. I was getting my creative writing degree from Florida State. I took a class that was called Book Structures because I was really interested in the idea of self-publishing and just discovered a whole world of this kind of like tactile, experimental, hands-on medium that I wasn't really aware existed before. So we do two types of printmaking here, letterpress printing and risograph printing. It looks like a copy machine, but it actually functions like screen printing where you're layering colors one at a time. So it's color separated. It's really great to have the opportunity to be out at different markets and events to sell our work. Since we don't have really a retail space, it's our opportunity to get our work out there and also be there to kind of tell folks about the process. And there's kind of this excitement when they pick up this card and you can tell that a hand made it. It's a small but mighty, kind of like print-loving community here in St. Pete. We've been able to connect with everyone from local bookstores to local authors and poets that are interested in publishing their own work and making zines, to just art education groups. We're able to kind of connect with all different types of people and excite them about this process. And then this lever here, you press it with your thumb. We're really grateful to have such a supportive community here in St. Pete for local businesses. People get really excited at events, and there's all these fun little mom and pop shops and artists selling their work, things that you can't find in other cities, right? It makes St. Pete very unique. We've been able to make a lot of great connections and collaborations with our fellow local businesses.
Hey St. Pete, I'm Amber Boulding, your Emergency Management Manager, here to explain the difference between floodplains, FEMA flood zones, and evacuation zones. Understanding these terms is key to protecting your safety and property. First up, stormwater floodplain. This is where water naturally collects during heavy rainfall due to the terrain and our stormwater infrastructure system. If you're in a stormwater floodplain, your property may be at greater risk of flooding from heavy rain. Next, FEMA flood zones. FEMA identifies these areas based on flood risk from storm surge or proximity to water. This affects flood insurance requirements and building regulations. Finally, evacuation zones. Set by Pinellas County, these zones indicate areas at risk from dangerous storm surge during hurricanes or tropical storms. An evacuation order means you must leave. This is about protecting lives from potentially deadly storm surge. Pro tip, being in a non-evacuation zone doesn't mean you're in a non-flood zone or outside the stormwater floodplain. Heavy rainfall can still cause freshwater flooding. In St. Pete, you need to know your zones. Visit stpete.org/hurricane and use the Prepare St. Pete map. Just enter any address or click a location on the map to see its stormwater floodplain, FEMA flood zone, and evacuation zone. Understanding these differences helps protect you, your family, and your property. Stay informed by following us at St. Pete FL before, during, and after storms. Stay safe, St. Pete.
I started this company almost 20 years ago out of my parents' garage. Growing year after year after year, you eventually, can grow out of a garage space really quickly. Scooter Cardoza with Trinity Graphics. I'm the owner here, and we do screen printing, embroidery, and promotional products. One of my long-term goals was to have a brick and mortar space. It took us a little over 12 years, but we got this space. Talk about a, kind of like a life-changing moment. We print lots and lots and lots of t-shirts. And then as far as like on the embroidery side, anything you can think of, we can accomplish with putting a logo or a brand on. One of the aspects of screen printing is reclaiming the screens, so you can basically reuse the screen over and over and over and over again. We had about 150 of the wood frames and thought it would be really cool to do a screen wall. So each screen has some sort of sentimental, meaning behind it. We love what we do, so we're just going to continue to put out, a great product that we stand behind. It's really cool to have a team that believes and has the same passion and will, go the extra mile to do whatever it takes to get the job done. There's been a big push for keeping St. Pete local. It's been amazing to feel that love from the community and local businesses that will allow us to thrive in the community for another 20 years.
Hi, I'm Andre Allen, stormwater foreperson for the City of St. Pete. I'm here to talk about sandbags. First important thing you need to know about sandbags, we have them year-round. We distribute sandbags every second Saturday of the month. You can get sandbags at our complex, 1744 9th Avenue North. The best way to use the sandbags is to get some visqueen or a heavy plastic tarp and lay it down like in an L shape from the ground up against your door garage and stack your sandbags just like you're stacking bricks right in front of your doors. If you didn't have no flooding in your area and no flood water touching your sandbags, you should store them in a safe area just in case another storm comes through. If flood waters touch your sandbags, we recommend you take it to Pinellas County Dump. For more information, you can follow us on social media at St. Pete FL.
My name is Catherine Washington, and I'm the first Black female firefighter for the city of St. Petersburg, Florida, and I'm very proud to be that and hold that title. A trailblazer is a person, and they go out and they do something that is mostly done by one gender, and they pierce that and they make something out of it that redistributed what people think of each other. I always wanted to kind of do what I call dangerous work. Something that somebody else didn't want to do, So when my sister said, hey, they hired us, I said, I want to go for the fire department. And I went. In this world, for me to be a firefighter, it was the most unique thing that I could ever think to be. Me being in the Army Reserve gave me a step up to think I could do way more things. I could lift the weights, I could come out of the building and out of a window just like the man did, and that gave me the chance to do it. We used to have the Martin Luther King parade. One time, I didn't want to be in the parade, I wanted to see the parade. Well, I had these 3 African-American older females that I knew knock on my door and say to me, you do not miss another parade as long as you're on this department, because we have young girls out here who need to see you and know that they can aspire to be what you are. So don't be standing over here in the crowd with us. You be out there walking with them fellas. If I could say something to kids who think they can't aspire to be this because they have problems and they think those problems hold them down, don't let what you think you hold you back. Aspire to be what you want to be in spite of that. And then you can see yourself being somebody else.
Maybe it's a little bit of my kind of hippie roots that makes me believe that music can change the world, and I feel we're doing our part in doing that. I'm Brad Winkos, founder of True Fire. We're based here in the Warehouse Arts District of St. Petersburg. True Fire is a publisher of interactive video software for music education. In the Warehouse Arts District, you still have a lot of warehouses and industry, but you have artisans, you have pottery, you have painters, studios. What do we have? 3 or 4 breweries even. So you've got this really kind of hip scene that's growing up Central Avenue. We're really looking forward to what the Warehouse Arts District is going to look like in 5 years. I think it's going to be one of the country's premier art centers. When we present a course, you're either streaming that course or you're downloading the course. And it's not just the video that's a part of the lesson, it's sheet music, interactive tablature, backing tracks, charts. So there's a lot of digital assets that comprise a True Fire video lesson. I wish we had more teachers here in St. Petersburg, but typically we'll fly them in from Europe, South America, all over the States, Canada, fly them into St. Petersburg, put them up at one of the nice hotels downtown.
When I'm in St. Petersburg, I'm happy. For that reason, I wrote a couple of songs in my acoustic album dedicated to St. Pete.
When I was growing up, if you wanted to play guitar, you couldn't even learn that in school. You had to go find another guitar player. There were no books, there were no DVDs. Certainly wasn't any internet, so you'd found another guitar player. Today, you can sit a student in front of a screen. You can show them multiple angles so that they can see the right hand, the left hand, everything that the player, the teacher is doing. So you're watching a video, you have a little map for where to put your fingers, you're listening, and you're able to learn how to play music. We do live broadcasts every time an artist comes to town. Streams around the world. For those 60 minutes, we have people of all creed, color. For that hour, we are one. We are a family. We share a passion. That's a very, very powerful influence.
When I decided to transition and retire, and you had told me if I ever retire, you would like to throw your hat in the ring. And I said, there is no ring. And then I turned it over to the Board of Trustees, but I did give them this 411. Erica is an intelligent, credentialed person, working artist, but she's an artist. And I think that's important. And whatever degree of difference that is, how an artist approaches the thing, that's what I wanted. And you went through the process, and that's what the board agreed on. The future is always bright, but under your tutelage, it's going to be delicious.
I thank you for that.
No, because, my generation, the baby boomers, we don't tend to get off the stage. You got to get the hook. Oh, there's always one other thing we can do. And I'm looking forward to that, seeing what's next.
I think we talked about it before, we have the same sentiment about the space and what our job is. My job is to maintain the heartbeat that has already been created in this space. I am not here to alter the heartbeat. I'm here to take this heartbeat and strengthen it and bring a bigger light so that the world can see it as much as I can, and to take that to whatever that next level is.
Well, as I told the Board of Trustees, we're getting an A+ candidate that you would normally have to scour nationally. And then she has the added thing of she knows this community and the community knows her.
I'm walking in the footsteps of a founder of an organization that is beloved. But I know that I gotta try it. And I know that we can do it.
Moved to St. Pete in 2014. We drove around and walked around different neighborhoods and noticed that they had events, community gatherings, cleanups, signage, cool logos, flags, all kinds of stuff like that. And I thought, I wonder why we don't have that. For the longest time, one of the things that annoyed us was anytime we met locals from St. Pete, one of the first questions they would ask us is, what neighborhood do you live in, right? And so people would say, well, I live in Kenwood, or I live in North Kenwood, or I live in Old Northeast, or Old Southeast. And we would just say, we're that neighborhood north of North Kenwood.
When we were initially looking at this house, on Zillow they had it listed as North Kenwood, which we thought was a bit of a stretch.
A little bit of a chin scratcher.
Yeah, I think they were trying to kind of just jump on the Kenwood bandwagon.
We wanted to have an identity. We wanted to have something that we could be proud of, but also that our neighbors could be proud of together.
We went into this just wanting to organize a neighborhood association, and we didn't realize how much it would change our lives for the better.
About a year ago, I joined up and became part of the core team reviving the Neighborhood Association, and as part of that, we decided to really start fresh, and we interviewed, asked neighbor input, and talked about coming up with a new name.
I started doing some research and realized that we actually did have a name. We were Highland Grove neighborhood. Highland Grove was actually a much larger neighborhood, and we decided to split the neighborhood into two smaller neighborhoods. On the west side of 28th Street, a neighborhood formed called Station View, and on the east side of 28th Street, our neighborhood formed, and our neighbors voted to call it St. Pete Heights.
So St. Pete Heights is an amazing location, actually. It's pretty central. Our big intersections are 30th Ave North and 38th Ave North. We make up a kind of a perfect square in the center there, also from 275 over to 28th Street North.
The more people start to see the name, hear the name through things like signage, which we're working on now, flags and other merchandise. We just got our branding done by a local St. Pete artist.
I am the guy behind the St. Pete Heights branding project. I work with the committee closely to come up with a new brand identity that represents who they really are. From the beginning of the project, our goal was to create something that can represent the people of the neighborhood. As opposed to when you're working with a business, you're thinking about the customers in mind. In this case, we wanted to represent the community, the people, and some of the things that makes them unique. My job was to find a way to tell their story through a visual identity, through beautiful typography, colors, and something that is able to showcase their passion behind the love for the neighborhood.
People are going to have pride to be in this neighborhood. It's a new neighborhood. People don't necessarily know what St. Pete Heights is, probably never heard of it. Once they start seeing the logo on signs, flags, shirts, things like that, it'll become more identifiable, and I feel like it'll bring more of a sense of community to the neighborhood.
The more they see these types of things, the more inclined they're going to be to care about their neighborhood and to want to feel invested in the community. It'll just be a domino effect where over time it will become bigger, better, and a place that people just love even more.
I can't wait to put that flag up in front of my house. I can't wait. It's gonna look really cool.
One of the things that we do in the neighborhood association is have care days. There are opportunities for the neighbors to come together and volunteer, oftentimes to beautify, clean up. It really can be anything. But the most recent one we did was a Drains to Bay project, where we put the signs that say Drains to Bay on the storm drains. We did every one in St. Pete Heights.
We had a day where we put signs that say drains to the bay on all of our storm drains, so people know that any water that go into the storm drains will wind up in the bay, so they're more careful about that.
When we do these care days, we're walking around the streets. Like, how often do you just walk around the streets of your neighborhood doing something like cleaning up? Or people notice that. Neighbors notice that and want to know, like, what are you guys doing? And then we get to talk about the neighborhood association. We even had one guy join in.
I would say it's very worth it. We've met so many incredible people in our neighborhood that we didn't even know live just doors down from us. Had it not been for the neighborhood association, had it not been for this initiative that we had, none of that would have been possible. And to me, those human connections are really what it's all about.
So Bobby, I have heard the origin story of your relationship with Jamie and how that kept you here, but I don't think I've ever heard why you wanted to start the studio.
Well, you know, that's a very good question, but I think it stemmed most from, I mean, somebody told me this years later that Jamie was just trying to find something for me to do because Dave Ellis and myself, we had not fully formed what the studio would be. And Jim was out looking for a building, found this place, and we were calling it a theater, but not necessarily. And I had never run a nonprofit before. I'd worked for dozens of them, but I'd never run one. And so I think it was a convergence of several things, and we just grew into it being what we now understand to be the studio, which is something David Ellis and myself never did an elevator speech or the one sound bite. It's many things. Lately, people have been calling it St. Petersburg's living room, which sounds nice. It's a home for the visual and performing arts, but it's evolved. But we never had a specific defining, we're gonna do this. It just evolved.
Hey guys, Ken Welch, Mayor of St. Petersburg. Now I'm with Dex Fabian, the publisher of I Love the Burg. Thank you for being here with us on our Sunrunner tour. Tell us how this changes life in St. Petersburg.
Coming from New York, one of the things I missed was mass transit. And I think having something like the Sunrunner now actually happening in St. Pete after so long, it's a game changer. Riding it today got us from point A to point B so much faster. Don't have to worry about parking. It just makes life so much easier for locals and even tourists.
And I think it helps us to change the culture. We really don't have a transit culture here.
Yeah, so I think this is a good starting point for more developments in our mass transit system.
Thank you for being with us, Dex. We'll talk to you next time on our Sunrunner tour.
Welcome to the City of St. Petersburg City Council meeting. Your elected officials are Mayor Ken Welch, District 1 and Council Chair Copley Gertis, District 2 Brandy Gabbard, District 3 Mike Harding, District 4 and Council Vice Chair Lisette Hanowitz, District 5 Deborah Fig Sanders, District 6 Gina Driscoll, District 7 Corey Givens Jr., and District 8 Richie Floyd.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the November 24th, 2025 City Council meeting. If we could do a roll call, please, Clerk.
Harding, Hanowitz.
Here.
Big Sanders. Driscoll.
Here.
Gibbons.
Here.
Floyd. Here. Curtis.
Here.
Here.
Okay. If everybody could please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Okay, council members, we have an agenda in front of us. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the agenda. Seeing as no other council members wishing to speak, Clerk, could you please open the machine for voting?
Right now is Councilmember Floyd. Thank you.
Council members, please enter your votes. Seeing as all present council members have voted, Clerk, please tally and announce the vote.
Chair, the motion to approve the agenda passes unanimously with Councilmember Harding being absent.
Okay, thank you. Now we're going to move into open forum. Clerk, could you please read the rules?
If you wish to address City Council on subjects other than public hearing or quasi-judicial items listed on the agenda, please sign up with the clerk. Only the individual wishing to speak may sign the open forum sheet. Only city residents, owners of property, business owners in the city or their employees may speak. All issues discussed on the open forum must be limited to issues related to the City of St. Petersburg government. If you are speaking to an item on the agenda, you may only speak once during the open forum or when the item is up on the agenda. In order to provide an opportunity for all citizens to address council, each individual will be given 3 minutes to speak, and after which the microphone will be muted. If you wish to address City Council through the Zoom meeting, you must use the raise hand feature button in the Zoom app or enter *9 on your phone at the time the agenda item is addressed. When it is your turn to speak, you will be unmuted and asked to state your name and address. At the conclusion of your comments, or when you reach the 3-minute time limit, you will be muted. All raised hands will be lowered after each agenda item. Regardless of the method of participation used, normal rules apply, including the 3-minute time limit on comments, the requirement that any presentation materials must be submitted in advance of the meeting, and the rules of decorum. If live public comment is disrupted by violations of the rules of decorum, the chair is authorized to accept public comment by alternate means, including by email only. Mr. Chair, we do not have any speakers in the chamber, and we have no one in Zoom as well.
Okay. All right. We will move on from open forum, and we'll go into our public hearing for the evening. We've got D1, an ordinance enacting year-end appropriation adjustments for FY25, and we're joined by Liz McCoskey. Liz, welcome.
Read the ordinance, Mr. Chair.
Oh, please and thank you. Sorry about that.
Proposed ordinance number 621H, an ordinance enacting year-end appropriation adjustments for the fiscal year 2025 for the operating and capital improvement program budget and adjustments to the fiscal year 2026 budget and providing an effective date. And we do have one card for this item, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. And it wouldn't be a city council meeting if I didn't screw something up. So now we'll go to Liz McCoskey.
All right, thank you, and good evening, Chair and members of City Council. This evening, we have the second reading and public hearing for the fiscal year 2025 and fiscal year 2026 budget reconciliation, or cleanup ordinance 621H. At the November 6th Budget, Finance, and Taxation Committee meeting, we had a detailed discussion of both the FY25 and FY26 recommended budget adjustments, and based on our October 16th preliminary financial close. And later that afternoon, we had the first reading of the cleanup ordinance at City Council. In between now and the November 6 meetings, there have been a number of adjustments or changes to both revenues and expenditures And this evening, I will give a summarized version of the proposed changes from first reading. The beginning fund balance for the general fund in FY25 was $84.769 million, and based on our city's financials as of November 5th, we estimated FY25 entries included on the cleanup ordinance that approximately $4.215 million of the general fund's balance will be used. The FY26 budget entries included in the FY25-26 cleanup ordinance will use an additional $10.214 million in general fund balance, and the estimated net effect is a decrease of $14.429 million in general fund balance, with an FY26 estimated ending balance of $70.340 million. This is an improvement over the first reading by about $1.7 million and is mainly due to additional revenue being recorded. Any actions, additional budget actions taken during this fiscal year would change this estimate. So looking at an overview of the general fund at FY25 year end, this chart shows the estimated FY25 year end general fund balance based on the November 5th financial reports. Since the first reading, revenues have increased by approximately $1.5 million, and the majority of this increase was in our grants category. Estimated expenditures in the general fund increased by $31,000, and the net result is the estimated amount of fund balance used at the end of FY25, which is now the $4.215 million, compared to our estimate of $5.68 million at first reading. This is a reduction of approximately $1.47 million in fund balance used. There are actions in the 26 portion of the cleanup ordinance that will increase this amount, and the projected use of fund balance is mainly due to expenditures related to Hurricanes Helene and Milton, which were partially offset by greater than budgeted revenues. This slide shows the 14.67% core general fund target of $57.231 million and our 20% general fund group of funds target of $78.338 million. And the estimated general fund balances at the end of FY25. We estimate that the 14.67 core general fund target will be exceeded by $23.323 million, and our general fund group of funds target exceeded by $50.447 million. This estimate does not include the $11.5 million in FY26 supplemental appropriations or rollover amounts that are included in the FY26 portion of the cleanup ordinance, and it'll be discussed later in the presentation. Therefore, these actions will expend $10.214 million of additional fund balance, accounting for $1.282 million in associated grant revenue. So we're looking at the supplement appropriations needed to close out FY25 in the general fund. The appropriations on this slide total $16.782 million, and the amount listed for the first 8 items are for budget authority only, and all amounts are included in the $529.36 million in total expenditure estimate for FY25. And since our first reading, the amounts needed for the engineering and capital improvement and fire rescue departments decreased, while the stormwater pavement traffic operations department increased slightly. The amount of the subsidy increase required by the Port Operating Fund also decreased since first reading. In the other city funds, there are 14 different funds that need FY25 cleanup supplemental appropriations. More information can be found on section 1, pages 4 through 5 of the backup. 4 of the fund's amounts have changed since the first reading. They're the EMS fund, our water resources debt fund, and stormwater utility fund. They all increased, and the airport fund decreased. The Water Resources Operating Fund was added, and the Coliseum and Marina were no longer needed and therefore removed from the cleanup ordinance. There are 6 internal service funds that require increases in authority for FY25, and more information again can be found in section 1, pages 5 through 6 of the backup. Since first reading, both the fleet management and commercial insurance funds amounts decreased, and the other 4 amounts did not change. In the capital improvement funds, there are funds that require supplemental appropriations in FY25, And these changes are included on the next 3 slides, but there's no changes since the first reading. At the end of each fiscal year, we commit or assign certain amounts within the general fund, and these 6 categories were established when council adopted the FY26 budget. We now have projections for how much will be committed for each of these categories. The operating reappropriations or encumbrances amount in the general fund is $6.133 million and is the only amount on this list that has changed since first reading. These encumbrances have been paid in FY25 and are included in our $529.36 million expenditure estimate amount and will become actuals in FY26. A full list of the FY25 operating reappropriations is located in Section 5, pages 11 through 12 of the backup, and there are a total of 40 funds that have entered into a contract or legal commitment to spend funding in FY25, but were unable to complete the purchase or did not receive the deliverable during FY25. These expenses were paid with FY24 resources, but they will become an actual in FY26, and they have already been netted out of the beginning FY26 fund balances and will not have a budgetary impact in FY26. In the general fund, again, there's a total of $6.13 million in encumbrances to roll over to FY26, and $179,000 are related to BP funding. Moving on to the general fund supplemental appropriations for FY26. The FY26 supplemental appropriation requests for both the general fund and other funds are mostly made up of items, programs, or projects that were budgeted for in FY25, but due to timing or other circumstances were not purchased or completed before year end. Therefore, the unexpended appropriation is requested to roll over to the next fiscal year to complete the purchase or project. Grants and our non-departmental appropriations to programs where fiscal years do not align with our budget fiscal year are example of many of these types of supplemental appropriation requests. This slide mirrors the earlier FY25 year-end slide and shows the impact of the 26 cleanup items on the general fund balance. And again, the BP funds are separate from the general fund operating. And since the first reading, the total rollover and supplemental request amount has decreased by $244,000 and is now $11.5 million. And I'll highlight some of the changes in more detail over the next few slides. Going back to the slide shown at the beginning of the presentation, when you combine the FY25 and 26 cleanup actions, we have the total estimated net impact to the general fund as a decrease of $14.429 million in fund balance. And again, this is an improvement over first reading by about $1.7 million. And again, is mainly due to additional revenue recorded since first reading. The total amounts requested in the general fund for FY26 supplemental appropriations, again, is $11.5 million. This slide summarizes those requests by departments and administration. There were changes since first reading with a total decrease of $244,000. Finance increased due to one of the rollovers in police being reclassified as a transfer, and then police decreased by that like amount. Parks, libraries, transportation, housing and neighborhood service administration, and public works administration departments all decreased. Additional information can be found in section 6 on pages 13 through 15 for these appropriations. The detailed information for the FY26 supplemental appropriations for other city funds can be found on section 6, pages 16 through 18 of the backup. There are 29 funds in total requesting rollover supplemental appropriations in FY26. And since first reading, 9 fund amounts have changed. 4 of the housing grant funds amounts changed, including the local housing, CDBG, home, and federal operating. The ARPA, the CDBG-DR, and affordable housing amounts increased, and water resources and the health insurance amounts decreased. The box on the left includes 12 funds where the appropriation request is to roll over unspent grant funding, and in some of the housing funds, it is also to appropriate additional program revenue. There are now 4 supplemental appropriations requested for FY26 in the CIP funds. The second appropriation has been added since the first reading, And this was originally an operating rollover request for the police department, but it will now be a CIP project instead of an operating expense. That was the transfer in finance that increased, and the police rollover amount was reduced by this amount. The supplemental appropriation for this project will help fund the replacement of one of the crack units in the data center. There are no transfers to the Arts and Public Places Fund required at cleanup based on